G'day, it's Jamie, and welcome to Where's My Yowie. Today, I'm reading an old newspaper article about Aboriginal Yowie and Bunyip legends, so we'll get into it. This was published in Sydney's Sunday Times on Sunday, the 27th of August, 1905, titled Australian Mythology and Folklore. Further extracts from Mr. R.H. Matthews' new anthological work. In introducing the chapter of his anthological notes dealing with the wonder stories of the Aborigines, Mr. Matthews remarks, "The folklore of any native people is always valuable, as showing the bent of the human mind in its earliest development, in accordance with the different surroundings and conditions of life. Many native stories are a mixture of legend, folklore and superstitious belief, and could perhaps be classed under one or other of these designations. Throughout their folklore we find evidences of the proclivity of the native mind to account for any specialities of animal structure or peculiar habits, as well as the remarkable forms of lakes, rivers, trees, hills and other natural phenomena. In pursuing all these different classes of tales, we find ourselves revelling in a new field of wonder and beauty, the fairyland of Australian romance and poetry. Mythologic ancestors and fabulous monsters. A class of genii form a conspicuous element in their legends. Some of these magical beings reside in the mountains, others in dense scrubs, others in the clouds. Some have their abode in deep water holes, others live in the trees, others again have bodies which glow like burning coals. Some of them have the power of altering their shape or of increasing or diminishing their size at pleasure. Some of them can vanish into thin air, while others disappear under the ground. All of them, with few exceptions, are more or less maleficent. Whether in human shape or as monstrosities, these creatures of Aboriginal fancy or exaggeration were possessed of supernatural powers, and many of their habits were different from those of the present race. Some of them could form watercourses, some could cleave mountains asunder and make hills from the material, others had the power of causing springs to burst forth, some were assisted in their work by means of magical weapons and wonderful dogs. The Gindering. The Darkening people had a mythical, malevolent creature resembling a man whose body had a red glow like burning coals, who had his abode in rocky places on the sides and tops of mountains. Fathers used to warn their sons to keep away from such spots. His name was Gindering, and his image was marked upon the ground at their initiation ceremonies, with a vessel containing human blood laid upon his heart. Guru Nagati, the Bunyip. Guru Nagati is the name of an aquatic monster among the Tharawal and Gundungurra tribes. He resides in deep water holes and would drown and eat strangers, but would not harm his own people. He usually climbed a tree near the water, from which he kept a lookout. If he saw a stranger approaching, he slid down and dived into the water without making a splash or leaving any ripples on the surface. As soon as the individual began to drink, he was caught by Guru Nagati. The yantanger. Another kind of fabulous being is the yantanger, a small man with a long beard flowing down to his waist. He has a stone tomahawk naturally formed on his right elbow, with which he kills Aborigines and procures game. On this account he carries everything in the left hand. After killing a man, he skins him and makes a bag out of the pelt for carrying water into the dry sand hills and ridges where he goes hunting. If an Aborigine is walking along and observes yantanger, he will probably begin to think to himself, "What a queer looking man that is." Yantanger will call out to him, "What are you saying about me?" The Aboriginal will reply that he said nothing, whereupon Yantanger tells the man what his thoughts were, where he is from, and the names of his relatives. After he kills and skins him, but if the man is some distant connection of his own, he allows him to proceed. I was unable to learn whether the Aborigines ascribed to this supernatural knowledge of Yantanger to his reading the man's thoughts, or whether it was supposed to be due to his omniscience. Wongai Bon tribe. The Yarama. On one occasion, an Aboriginal man went under a large fig tree to pick up ripe figs which had fallen to the ground, when a yarama, which was hidden in a hollow place in the base of the tree, rushed out and, catching hold of the man, swallowed him head first. It happened that the victim was a man of unusual length, measuring more than a foot taller than the majority of his countrymen. Owing to this circumstance, the yarama was not able to gulp him farther than the calves of his legs, leaving his feet protruding from the monster's mouth, thus keeping it open and allowing the air to descend to the man's nostrils, which saved him from suffocation. The yarama soon began to feel a nausea similar to what occurs when a piece of fish bone or other substance gets stuck in one's throat. He went down to the bank of the river close by and took a drink of water to moisten his throat, thinking by this means to suck into his stomach the remainder of his prey and complete his repast. This was all to no purpose. However, for becoming sick, the yarama vomited the man out onto dry land. He was still alive, but feigned to be dead, in order that he might perhaps have a chance of escape. The yarama then started away to bring his mates to assist him to carry the dead man to their camp. He wished, however, to make quite sure that the man was dead before he left him, and, after going but a short distance, he jumped back suddenly, but the man lay quite still. The yarama got a piece of grass and tickled the man's feet and then his nose, but he did not move a muscle. The yarama, thinking he was certainly dead, again started away for help, and when he got a good distance off, the man, seeing his opportunity, got up and ran with all speed into the water close by and swam to the opposite shore and so escaped. The end. Wow, I love that. That's awesome. I love Aboriginal folklore stories. I reckon they're the best. Okay, so we'll talk about Robert Hamilton Matthews, who wrote this. He was an Australian surveyor and self-taught anthropologist who studied Aboriginal cultures of Australia, especially those in Victoria, New South Wales and southern Queensland. He was a member of the Royal Society of New South Wales and a corresponding member of the Anthropological Institute of London. Matthews had no academic qualifications and received no university backing for his research. He supported himself and his family from investments he made during his lucrative career as a licensed surveyor. He was in his early 50s when he began investigations of Aboriginal society that would dominate the last 25 years of his life. During this period, he published 171 works of anthropology, running to approximately 2,200 pages. Matthews enjoyed friendly relations with Aboriginal communities in many parts of southeast Australia. Yeah, that's awesome. I love Aboriginal folklore. I reckon they're better, sometimes even better than a lot of the old reports that I get. Okay, that's it from me. I'll get back to you all next time. Bye.